everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's nice to see everyone again. I have missed chatting with you guys. I apologize. I'll let everybody kind of get settled in. And I'll kind of update you guys on what's going on. I took a week off and I haven't done any videos. I have a new schedule, and so I am trying to get adjusted to that. And I'm trying to just really redesign my, I'm trying to get something open. I'm just like really redesigning my schedule. And I haven't really just been able to do any recording or anything. And so it's been a while now. It's been 2 weeks since I did a show. And I haven't, I just haven't had a chance to, get behind the microphone, get behind the camera and stuff like that. I'm almost done. I apologize. I'm trying to get my stream pulled up here so I can see everybody. Who's here? Ross is here. Ross, good to see you, buddy. Ross checked in on me. He said, "Did you retire from YouTube?" And I took a 2-week break. Technically, I did not retire, but I was pretty close. What we're going to do tonight, I have, we're really early too. And that's because I 7:30, by the time 7:30 rolls around, I honestly am just so tired. Like 7:30, I'm gassed at 7:30. And so I just got home and I have a little bit of energy left in my tank, and I thought I might as well just do it now. 7:30 is just really tough right now. For those that don't know, I am currently working on my real estate license. Not that I didn't have anything else going on, so I thought I would add a real estate license to it. So let me kind of update you on that real quick, and then we'll move on into the show. But let me just say this real quick too. If you're listening on the podcast, if you've never joined our live show, our goal is every Tuesday night we go, and now moving forward, we'll be back on a regular schedule. I needed to get a week of just this new schedule going on and stuff like that. But we will be every Tuesday night. We'll be live. I'm not going to say 7:30 anymore because I really don't think it's going to be 7:30. It's probably going to be closer to 5 or so, but we'll see. But every Tuesday night moving forward, we're going to get back on track with our theology show, with our discussing of book sales, resources, articles, sermons, reviews, and things like that. But again, if you're on a podcast, we are live on Tuesday nights through Facebook and YouTube. We'd love to have you chat, and we'd love to have you come by. Lee says, congrats on the real estate license. Thank you, Leah. I appreciate that. And so let me just give a quick story about that. A while ago, I don't even remember how long ago this was, my wife said to me in a joking way, she said, "You should get your real estate license." And I laughed it off, didn't think anything of it. And then I was at the dentist, and next to the dentist is a real estate office, and they had a sign out front that said "New career option ? Free training, stop in today." And honestly, I'm not like a signs kind of guy, but this sign like jumped up out in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird." And so I went home, and I don't remember if it was that night or the next day or something like that, but I remember saying to my wife, like, "How serious were you about me getting my real estate license?" And we talked about it for a little bit. Well, I ended up going into the office, and I asked for more information. I called and spoke with the branch manager. Then I went in and had an interview. And long story short, she basically offered me a job on the spot, obviously contingent upon me passing my classes and exams and stuff like that. But the branch basically said, "We will not really sponsor me," because we still had some out-of-pocket costs to get my license and things like that. But they basically allowed me to come underneath their wing, and I do the classes online, so it's at my own pace. But when I am done, I will come on board with Berkshire Hathaway. That's the agency that I will be working with. And so it literally it happened that quickly. It was within like a 2-day period. I don't even think it took that long, because it just felt so right, and I'm really excited about it. But I know, and everybody's gonna say, "Well, you shouldn't have taken on so much." Like, it's just a really odd season of life. So right now I'm finishing my MDiv, and that'll be done next year. I am currently working on my real estate license, but the real estate license is I'm looking more long term. William says, congrats. Hope you're still preaching. I am still preaching. That's an aspect of what I am doing. And this actually is part of the reason why I wanted to get my real estate license, is because I want to continue to do ministry. But the reality of life and everything that we do is I need to have a stable career, stable income to provide for my family. And I want to have my wife be able to focus on her career. She has graduated from school now. And so real estate gives me that option of having a flexible schedule, because right now, with the way that life is, I can't be tied down to a schedule. Like 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, it does not work for me. And I don't know, honestly, if I'll ever go back to a Monday through Friday type job. It just doesn't work. So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing, my driving jobs and stuff like that, but that frees me up to not be on a schedule. And real estate gives me that ability. I'm my own brand. I am my own business. I am, I'm freed up to do everything else that I have going on in life, but this fits really well with my personality because I've done sales in the past and I've always enjoyed it. And I can now, obviously with selling homes, it's commission based only and things like that. But now I will have a career because this is like, it's weird for people that are pastors. I was thinking about this the other day. I had a conversation with somebody. When I got out of high school, I went to tech school. I went to ITT Tech. I thought I was going to be in IT for the rest of my life. So my goal, and probably a lot of people's pathway or their goal, is whatever they feel called to do. IT work, let's say, for example. So what you do is you graduate high school, you go to college, you take your classes with IT work, you maybe do an internship, and then you go and apply for jobs in that field, and then an employer hires you, and you have now found your career based upon you going to school and doing all the things. That's just kind of how it works. And then normally what happens is somebody pays you for that, and you get paid a pretty good amount of money, because I know what people in IT make. And you don't have to worry about, okay, well, my career is IT work, but I've got to go and do other things in order for me to be in IT. No, you're just in IT. That's just what you do. You get paid for it. I feel called to pastoral ministry, and I feel called to do this avenue here. However, I don't make an income from either of those two things. The reality of what I feel like is going on in life and what God has called me to do, big picture, I don't see myself sustaining a family off of income from those two things. If and when an income comes from pastoral work and YouTube and whatever, however that looks. But the reality is, I've got to take care of my family, okay? And so if I feel called and confidently feel called to be a pastor, and right now, I don't know what 5 years, I don't know what 5 minutes looks like down the road, or 5 days, or whatever. I don't know what that looks like. But I've got to be smart, and I've got to be wise. And when I take a step back and I think, what do I need to do? And this is what my wife and I both agreed that we think I should do. Again, real estate career gives me a steady income based upon obviously selling, but it's money that's coming in, which allows me to then provide for my family, which still frees me up to be a pastor and to do YouTube and to finish school, and then do all of the other things that I do. But it's just tough because, again, a lot of people that are in ministry are... My brother-in-law posted an article the other day, and he made a little quote about he knows so many people that are in pastoral ministry that are working like 3 or 4 jobs just to be a pastor, or they don't have health care through their church, and so they've got to go find another job in order to have health care to provide for their family and stuff like that. Like, that's true. Like, that is the reality of what it means to be a pastor. And if you want to be a pastor, there's things you have to do in order to free up yourself to be a pastor. And I have my little business that I'm doing too, and that's like really taking off. I have all these avenues and stuff like that. But again, what my goal is to do those things, to have an income, to free myself up to be a pastor, and to not have to worry about any income from church or from YouTube or, sponsorship or whatever that looks like. But to still be able to take care of my family, to put food on the table. We want to have kids one day. My wife and I want to have kids, and I got to make money to do that. It's just a reality of what it is. I want my wife to be freed up to focus on her career, to not have to work 2 jobs, so I can, I can provide for her, and that's what we've arrived at. That's a big, long story to say that I'm getting my real estate license. The goal on my dry erase board, I wish I could turn my camera around and show you because I track my hours. I have it planned out. It's 120 hours of school is basically what it is. And my goal is to be done November 15th with the classes and with school and everything like that. And then I'll take my exam. And then after I take my exam, then I will be a licensed real estate agent. I will then come underneath the branch, and through the branch, I will be trained, and I will be paired up with a mentor, and we'll just run up from there. So the goal is November 15th to be done with that. Again, 120 hours of training. But that's kind of what this new schedule is. I have to average to do that 2 hours a night, and then 3 hours on Saturdays, and an hour and a half or so on Sundays. And I also am still doing, my seminary work and stuff like that. So I just kind of needed to get this new schedule under my belt, and so I've modeled it, and I think I'm at the point to where I'm good. So moving forward, I think we'll be back on normal because I really have I've really missed, and I've seen like I've the last 2 weeks have sort of been up and down for me from a mental and from a just a physical and just an overall. It's just been very up and down, and so I see, again, and what I was saying was, I need to make money. I need to take care of my family and stuff like that. And that has become a priority. Okay. And so what happens then, I was just talking to my friend, Noah, about this. And I said to him, I was like, I'm trying to remain focused on Christ because Christ is better. And I know that. I know that from a theological point, and I can articulate it and I can explain it to other people. But when I begin my day, I've got to remember that that's what I'm called to do. Above all else, I'm called to serve Christ, and that's the most important thing. Because if I don't do that, nothing else is going to matter. We're just going to pay our bills, and we're going to have things from an earthly perspective, but life will just be, meaningless. Because if you're not making much of Christ, and if you're not serving Christ. So again, over the last 2 weeks, it's just been very mentally exhausting, and trying to create a new look to life and stuff like that. So I think I am. I think I'm good. I really do. Thankfully, I have a lot of good people in life that hold me accountable and check in on me, and because I'm not the type of person that's gonna say like. I don't. I really don't reach out to say to people like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm just not that type of person. And so if you ask me how am I doing, I'm gonna say I'm doing good, and I'm gonna tell you this is why I'm doing good, and I'm gonna rattle off a bunch of things that I'm doing. When in reality, I might not be doing good. I might just be tired. But anyways, so that's what we're doing. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be doing. I'm still going to be doing YouTube. I'm still going to be doing the podcast, and I'll still be doing this stuff. There is plenty to do, and there's a lot to talk about as always. And so yeah, we're just going to get back on track with things and move forward. And that's what we're going to do. So that's what's going on in life. The dogs are good. Yesterday was their 1 year birthday. They're 1 year old as of yesterday. They're not one. They're 12 and 11. But yesterday, a year ago, we got our dogs. And for those that are new, that might not know, our dogs are, they Adriel, thank you very much. Appreciate that encouragement. Another aspect of the platform is I always try to be transparent because I like people to realize what's going on. And I want people to understand my heart and what I feel called to do. So yeah, I appreciate that encouragement. The dogs are, we love these dogs. And so yesterday was their birthday. And I say that because one of them is down here. He's just passed out, and I happen to catch him with my eye. So, all right, let's go. So what I have for you tonight is I want to talk about church growth strategies. And then I also came across this video from a church in, I think it's Lakeland, Florida. Yeah, Lakeland, Florida. The church is called Word Up Ministries. That's what it's called, Word Up Ministries. They posted a video. When was this? Let me see here. This was September 12th. This is, the guy's name is, first off, it got 7 thumbs up and 19 thumbs down. The ratios always get me. This is, the guy's name is Pastor Frankie Floyd. And they are doing a series. Let me see where it is. There it is. It's called At the Movies, and you can see it there on the screen if you're on the podcast. What I try to do a lot of the times is I'll pull things up on the website so you guys can see it. So that's another reason why we'd love to have you join during the live show so you can see. But I am Sean Wilson. Good evening. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. I have the Word Up Lakeland website, and these two things go together because church growth strategy, seeker sensitive, stuff like that. And then this video that I'm about to play is going to set the scene for what we are going to talk about. So actually, let me just go ahead and click over. Let's just kind of run with this. So again, this is, it's called At the Movies. And this is honestly, I think this is like a sermon series that you can go buy somewhere. Excuse me. And they'll send you these graphics and stuff like that because I've seen a ton of churches like this do this At the Movies series. I don't know what it is. But I've seen it a bunch. I think you can go buy it somewhere and Amazon will send it to you, and but this is a video they posted. It's called Christ Our King, the Prince Ali Christian Remix by Word Up Ministries. This is their pastor, okay? Now, this is how they started. This is their series opener. So this is how they started, okay? You ready? I don't have any audio. Hold on. I knew that was going to happen. Let me see if it's going to... Nope, it's not going to work now either. Hold on. OBS, however good of a program it is, it's just a weird program sometimes. All right, hold on. Let me click back over. I have no desktop audio at all. And how am I going to show this? Because that was kind of the main thing I wanted to do. I wanted to show you guys this. Let's try. Hold on, I got an idea.
For Christ our King, say hey, it's Christ our King. Hey, clear the streets of Jerusalem. Hey, you, let him through while we sing a hymn. Oh, come be the one to see God's brightest light. Make way, here he comes. Toss your coats, wave a palm. He is the way, the truth, and the life. Our Majesty, holy is he, Christ the Messiah. Show some respect, boy, genuflect down on both knees and recognize the true King. Go lift your voices and sing. To him be all the power, praise, and glory. Christ our King, the Nazarene, blessed Messiah. Stronger than hell, Satan won't prevail, now that's guaranteed. In the garden they pulled out their swords. He asked, what do you need all them for? I'll gladly die for their liberty willingly. Now he's got 72 bold disciples and 6 legions of angels waiting. When it comes to love unconditional, his mercy's new with the morning dew. It's a supernatural mystery. Christ our King.
All right. So, again, if you're just joining, that was, the church is called, what is it called? Word Up Ministries. Okay. And so with me doing what I do, people send me stuff like this all the time. And, this was just, I've been talking a lot lately about church growth strategies and, what the modern church looks like. And so that's why this was sent to me. So, okay. I want you to, for a moment, picture yourself as a friend of an attendee of this church. Okay. So let's say your friend, Joe, let's just call him Joe. You work with this guy, Joe. And Joe says to you, man, he's been trying to get you to come to church. And he says, listen, you've got to come to church. You know, it's cool. It's laid back. We have lights. We have music and stuff like that. That's going to be his approach, because that's what all these people, I'm not going to lump them all in together, but 90% of the time when somebody invites you to a church like this, they lead with that. So Joe invites you to church, and you finally say, okay, I'm going to go. This is the church service that you go to. Now, you're an unbeliever, okay? And Joe is a guy that you work with. He's been trying to get you to come to church forever. You finally give in, and that's the church service that you show up for, okay? Now, again, this is not the entire service. This was 1:33 of the service. But this is how they started the service, okay? This is what began their service. And that's, you are the unbeliever. You sit down and this happens. This dude comes out in a costume, okay? Because look at what he's wearing. Let me click back over. Okay? This dude is, look at what he's wearing, like Prince. I think that's a movie. I don't know what Prince Ali is. Is it a movie? It's got to be a movie, because they're doing the movie series. Okay, so it's Aladdin. I did not realize this. That's even, so that's what they've done. Now, okay, because I couldn't figure that out before. So they have taken the Aladdin theme song, or the Aladdin song. This dude dressed up like the guy in the video from the movie, and they created a song about Christ from Aladdin, okay? So again, here's this outfit. This is the pastor. This is the dude that's going to be preaching the message. And this is Luke's here. He says, uh-oh. I think Luke Luke, you watched this video when I posted this, right? I think you saw this. But this is what it starts out with, okay? So now in your head, again, you're an unbeliever. You already have a perception of Christianity. And that's what they are trying to win you with. That's this church's, that's their growth strategy right there, is this thing. It is to do a series called At the Movies. And that's supposed to win an unbeliever. That's what, and I posted this on Twitter the other day. Picture this scenario, okay? These guys had a meeting, and somebody brought up this idea and said, you know what? I've got a great idea. And nobody said this is a horrible idea. We should not do this. They agreed to do this. And this is the result. I just don't understand how you arrive at the conclusion that this is a good idea. I just don't. And again, I know that I'm going to get criticized because I'm old-fashioned. Like, I am a no lights, no... They're a church for people who don't like church. Sean, there is a church in our area that is their motto. I like hymns, and I like, I'm not a lights, and that's just not me. Like, I'm a tech guy through and through. Like, if you came down into my basement and saw all this stuff down here, you would think, yeah, this is your type of church. And it is not. It could not be farther from the truth. I am so opposite of this stuff. And I know that I get criticized because I'm hypercritical of this stuff. I just think it's like you're doing more damage by doing something like this. And that's what as somebody who was introduced to the church through solid theology and through the preaching and teaching of the word, and who has experienced stuff like this before firsthand. I've sat in churches that are like this, that do this stuff. This stuff it really, I don't have much patience for it. I don't. I'm sorry. This is eternity that we're dealing with here. We're preaching and teaching the word of God, and this is how you want to spend your time on Sunday mornings. This is what is going on everywhere. Again, this is everywhere that people are doing this. This is that's why I talk about it so much, because these churches are everywhere. They are so everywhere. And the problem with these types of churches is they are leaving people. Again, you're an unbeliever, you attend this church, that's what you're introduced to. You already have an opinion of Christianity as you walk in the door, automatically. Even if you haven't formulated one, you already do. Because if you're not a Christian, there's a reason why you're not a Christian. Even if it's just, well, I just don't care, or I'm agnostic. That's an opinion of Christianity. There's a reason why. And so that's what they're trying to do to win you to Christ. That's the avenue. Like, what I have always thought, this is, and again, like, I know I can hear all these arguments because I've talked about this stuff before, and my pastor just said this on Sunday. Somebody's going to say, oh yeah, well, I know so-and-so, and this person got saved at a Joel Osteen church service, or this person got saved at a church just like this. I don't doubt that. Like that stuff happens. Like legitimately that stuff happens. But the ends does not justify the means. I struggled with addiction for 15 years. I don't go tell people to go and do drugs for 15 years in order for Christ to save them down the road. I just don't do that. That's my experience. That was unique to me. And so to promote this stuff, because there's like these isolated incidents where like people know of somebody who was saved through this, that's again, the ends do not justify the means. The means of this right here to get somebody saved. I just don't see how, and I just don't see how this is growing the church. I don't know how, and let's say a believer, again, and I'm going to say too, I don't know what their, I don't know what their entire service was. That's just a clip. But there is, their statement of faith includes the NLT, the ESV, and then NASB. So that's a interesting combo of translations. I was trying to see if they had a little bit more that I could show, but it looks like they do not. And this is a non-denominational. It's got to be non-denominacostal is what I call them. Pragmatism is never the biblical perspective. That's what I have in mind. Because what happens when somebody attends a church? They're automatically told, well, this is how you can get plugged in. This is what we offer. We do this on Wednesdays. We do this on Fridays. We do this on Sundays. And I'm not saying those necessarily are bad things, because our church does that. But that's become the norm. Like that's become just what church looks like. It's like, okay, well, here's your things. Here's your growth track, or here's how you get plugged in. Jesus will build a church. Jesus is the brand, and the marketing plan is the gospel. It never changes. And that's kind of what I had in mind at the beginning, was returning to a more traditional type church service. Because again, unbelievers aren't coming to church because the music is good. They're not coming to church because the coffee is good. Like, they're not coming to church because your pastor is funny. Like, that's just not, that's not happening. I'm talking about like a legitimate unbeliever. I'm not talking about somebody who's dabbled in church and stuff like that and they attend. And I mean like an unbeliever, like somebody who flat out rejects Christ. And your goal as a follower of Christ is to get that person to follow Christ. Tell them that. See what their response is. They're not going to want to come to church for that. Are you kidding me? And so, do you know how much money they probably spent on this? Do you want, how much is their budget, do you think, a church like this? I wish they had some more information on here, because now I'm really curious. They have a giving tab, of course. I don't think their budget's on here. But anyways, think about the time and the money and all of this that went into planning this. And that's their strategy to reach unbelievers, is to have their pastor up in an Aladdin costume, because what they think is what? They think, okay, Aladdin is a popular movie, and so we're going to show the world that we're cool, right? We're gonna use worldly measures to appeal to the masses. What you win them with is what you have to keep them with, is what Paul Washer says. I believe it's Paul Washer. But that's what they're doing. They'll throw a rock concert for an hour on Sundays. They'll pull a verse out of context here and there, and they'll sprinkle a little bit on top of it to make it sound true, right? He's quoting from the Bible. This guy probably quotes from the Bible. This guy dancing around to Aladdin, he probably quotes from the Bible. So again, I'm in the audience, and I'm thinking, okay, well, he's the pastor, right? He's been this is what he's called to do, and so he's got to be right. I just don't, and this stuff's going on college campuses. This is what they're trying to win college kids with. Like that's what they're trying to win college kids with. That and free food is what. Hey, come to our Wednesday night service. We'll give you free food. This is Chris Huff's here. Chris Huff is one of my favorite people in the whole entire world. I am just, honestly, it breaks my heart. It really does, because here's a reason why it breaks my heart, because I have conversations with people all the time about this stuff, and they look at me like I've got three heads when I try to combat this stuff. That's the norm, okay? Laboring for the truthfulness of Scripture and preaching and teaching the Word on Sunday mornings is not the popular message. And people are not accepting that in the masses. And when you speak out about that stuff, what happens? You're automatically labeled as divisive. People have told me, well, what does it matter anyways? I had somebody ask me once. I told them I was a pastor. So I Uber and I do all that. And so I tell people, they always ask what I do, or if Uber is my full-time job. And I tell them, no, this is what I do. And it always comes up that I'm a pastor. And so they always, what kind of pastor are you? What kind? Because you can be all kinds of different pastors, right? You can be that term, and I understand that when I say that I'm a pastor, what does that mean? That can mean anything. But people ask me. So I tell them I'm an associate pastor of a small Southern Baptist church, and blah, 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 blah. And a lot of times what people will say, Southern Baptists, huh? Well, aren't all denominations the same anyways? And I have to think like, okay, how do I want to answer this question? Because no, all denominations, in a very simple answer, are not the same. And some of them are so bad that it gives the good ones like it lumps everybody together, and the devil has seldom done a clever thing than hinting to the church that part of their mission is to provide entertainment for the people with a view to winning them. Charles Spurgeon. Praise God. That is so true. But people ask me, like, aren't all denominations the same? And I have to explain to them that no, they're not. And then they ask, like, well, why are they not? What do you mean? Like aren't all churches are the same? Like, and then I'm looked upon as what? Like one of these, like I'm negative, because I'm trying to explain to them from a biblical perspective as to why some of these denominations are not, and I'm not talking about like third and fourth hills that you would die on. I'm talking about like gospel-centered issues that make denominations different, like plain and simple. Like if you don't believe that you are saved by grace alone through faith alone with nothing to do of yourself, like you preach a different gospel, plain and simple. Like that's what Paul says. Like let them be cursed. That's Galatians 1. So yeah, you can be a denomination that looks to be Christian, and if you don't preach that, you're wrong. Like, and that separates you from a biblical denomination. That separates you from a church that is biblical. That something like that. So again, I'm not talking about like, well, your worship service looks like this, so you're a false church. Like that. I'm not. That's not at all what I'm going to say. I'm saying though that if your church service is modeled around this, there's going to be fruit that is produced, and it's going to be fruit that proves there's followers of Christ in there, or it's going to prove the other. And more times than not, when you have a church service like this, it's proven the other. And I'm not saying that it's completely impossible, because God can, again, like these services are used for good, but again, I'm not promoting that because the ends don't justify the means. Like I'm not going to tell somebody, yeah, you need to go to this church. Like we have a church in our area that comes to mind, and a borderline, and I think the other guys at our church would agree with this. Like we specifically have to remind ourselves about this church because it's that church that it's real easy to pick on them, and it's real easy to just like laugh and do it in a condescending type way. When I see their stickers on people's cars, like I want to like drive my car in front of them and get out of the car and be like, listen, like, can I talk to you for 5 minutes about why you should not go to that church? Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, that is true. And I have publicly called this, like, I'm not afraid to. I'm just not going to talk about it right now because that's not what I'm trying to do. But what I'm saying, though, is we have to remind ourselves, and we just did this a couple of weeks ago, we publicly as elders of our church repented of this sin that we were being critical, or we were being like judgmental. We were wrong in our approach to this church because we had the wrong heart towards that church. We have not like stopped to pray for another church that we disagree with. And so I wish people, when I talk about this stuff, I wish they would give me an opportunity to say, but wait a minute. Let me explain what's going on here. Yeah, I'm talking about this church, and I'm, if you want to say critical of them, absolutely. But my heart, I am weeping internally for some of these churches that I see. And I'm praying that God would turn them around and use them in a manner to further his kingdom. Like that's true. That is me to you, confessing something that is true in my life. And if you want to believe it, you can. If you don't, that's fine too. But why I bring this stuff up is because I want people to be aware, like, this is going on. Like, this is what is, when people talk about Christianity, I mean, that's what they think is stuff like this. They think of Joel Osteen. They think of mega churches. They don't think about the guy who works 2 jobs and has a congregation of 100 people, and that goes in half during the summer months, and that nobody comes to Wednesday night services and the pastor shows up by himself, or the guy who's a pastor of a 30 or 40 person church who spends 20 hours a week in his study to prepare a message, regardless of how many people come to church on Sunday. That's the norm of Christianity. That is the norm, not this mega church model. And again, I'm not saying that like once you reach a certain number of attendees, you're automatically wrong. Like that's not at all what I'm saying. Because I know numerous churches that God is using and he is growing them and they're biblical. So I'm not trying to say that like once you get over 100 people, your church is automatically, crap. Like that's not at all what I'm saying. But what I am saying is like, are you using your platform of thousands of people? Are you using every single moment to just ooze Christ and to just pour out the gospel? Like, is everything you do in that church service modeled to be excellent for Christ? Is it to make much of Jesus Christ? Or is it, hey, listen, I know how we can get an extra 10 people. Like, because honestly, like with this that I just showed, this video, how many people are going to show up next Sunday because of that? Like, really, let's be honest. How many people do they think that they're going to gain because of that? 10, 20? I don't know how many people are at this church, so I don't know what their numbers are and stuff like that. However, if they can put on a show like that, they're probably not hurting. And it's just, again, I just get tired sometimes. Like I told my wife one day, sometimes I wish I didn't care. Honestly, sometimes I wish I didn't care. Sometimes I wish I didn't care when people talk about their favorite teacher and it's somebody that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy to listen to. Like that's tiring. That internally does stuff to me. Like, because what I've got to do is I've got to figure out at that moment, okay, am I going in or am I not? How am I going to approach this conversation? How am I going to bring this up to this person? And how do I, like, that's internally battling. And again, I'm talking about like bad stuff. I'm not talking about like, okay, well you like, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I'm talking about blatant, like Joel Osteen. Everybody always uses Joel Osteen, but he's the biggest example. He's got the biggest church in America. And everybody knows who Joel Osteen is. Like I'm talking about like when people say, oh, I read the new Joel Osteen book. Did you read it? And I have to say, well, no, I would never read that. And they look at me like, well, why? And then I've got to decide again at that moment, am I going in or am I not? Am I just going to say, well, I don't, it's just not my guy. Or am I going to explain why I don't read Joel Osteen? Am I going to say he doesn't preach the gospel? He doesn't preach Christ crucified for the forgiveness of sins. He doesn't preach repentance. He preaches a prosperity false gospel. Am I going to have that conversation with that person? And that's like, when I lay my head down at night, I mean, those conversations that I have, they run through my head. I journal, or at least I try to. I have some mental struggles. And so an aspect of life that I'm trying to help with is journaling, is to get a lot of these thoughts out and get them out of my head. And so like, cause when I wake up in the morning, when I wake up at 4:30, I'm already at 8:00 at night. I've already gone through my list and I'm like, that's just, my mind is just, it's just gone. And I drink a super, super ton amount of caffeine. So that doesn't help either. But I got to get a lot of these thoughts out of my head. And so I journal. And it doesn't always look like last night I have a file in Evernote and I just pull up for the day and I just jot some of my thoughts down. And I was thinking about that last night. I was thinking like, man, like I'm just tired. I am just tired. I am tired of having to, how do I want to say this? I am just tired. Let me just say that. It's a battle. It really is. It really, really is. And to go back to what I was saying before, that's why, like I said to my wife one day, I was like, that's like, I just wish sometimes I didn't care. Like I did. Um, and I don't mean that in a, like I'm throwing in the towel type of way. I just mean like it is, it's exhausting. It is tiring sometimes. And there's some days I just wish I didn't care, but I can't. I can't not care. I have to care, because that's part of what I feel like. I'm called to do is to do this stuff. And honestly, like my soul is uneasy. It's like nauseating almost when I'm not caring. Like I see myself when I just sort of am just like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. When I see myself not having those conversations, because here's the reality of it. When somebody comes to me and they're talking about that person, and I don't, it doesn't matter how tired I am. At that very moment, I'm called to defend the gospel. Like I'm called to defend the Bible. And when I don't, I'm more concerned about that person than I am Christ and scriptures. I'm more concerned with I'm going to get food after this conversation, and I want to go do that instead of talk to you. So I'm just going to push off this conversation and whatever. I'm more concerned with myself and my wants and my desires and things like that. And that's Drew's here too. Good to see you, Drew. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by. That's not good. It's just not good. This stuff, and we're all called to do this. Like we're all called to, I mean, I don't mean we're all called to sit in front of a camera and do a podcast. That's not what I mean. I mean, we're all called to defend the scriptures. Always be prepared to give a defense for the hope that is inside of you. I love you, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate your kind words. That's another aspect, completely off topic, but another aspect of doing this is the amount of people that I've been able to interact with over the last 16 or so months, 15 months or something like that. Just the people that I've gotten to know. And I mean, now like these guys have become my friends. A lot of them I haven't met in person. Some of them I might not ever meet because we live on, opposite sides of the country. And some of these guys I live on the other side of the world. But these guys are my friends. Like we're partners in the mission of proclaiming Christ. These guys are my friends. I care for these people. I pray for these people. And I think when we buy into a message like this, when we buy into this seeker-sensitive, entertainment-style driven church, what we've done is we have isolated ourselves as the consumer. And we've removed ourselves from the larger perspective of remembering that, like, listen, like, we're all in this together. Like, something like this is saying, what are you going to do for me, church? Like, how are you going to entertain me for an hour in order to hold my attention? Like, not, like forgetting, I forget where I heard this from, and I'm probably going to paraphrase it really bad, but it was talking about like churches in other countries and stuff like that, and have you really stopped to think about like what goes on in other countries? Like that person who is being persecuted for their faith, and I mean persecuted, they're a Christian just like we are. They have the same Bible. They're being persecuted for their faith, and oftentimes we forget that. And it's, we are partners with them. Like we are in this battle. Like Paul tells us to strive and to labor and to toil. I think I'll stop there. What time is it? It's 10-6, and I gotta go cook dinner. Yeah, so we're back, and I'm grateful for the chance to chat. And yeah, if you're interested in talking more, send me a message on Facebook. Hold on. I am parched. I didn't bring any water down. I have a bubbly. Another one of my things. So I drink 4 things. I drink Bang energy drinks. I love them. I love them. I drink coffee. I drink bubbly, and I drink water. Those are my things. And bubbly is a sparkling water No calories, no sugar, anything like that. And my wife and I love them. Like LaCroix, like that's what they are similar to. But LaCroix, I heard it described once. LaCroix tastes like somebody else drank it and then put it in a can for you to drink. Like that's what somebody described LaCroix as. And I've had LaCroix, and it's just weird. It tastes like it's trying to be something else that it's not. And bubbly is not like that. So no free ads is one of our mottos, but I'm giving a free ad to Bubbly. If you like sparkling water, I highly recommend them. What else do we got going on this week? I am trying to think here. Not this weekend, but the following weekend is my wife and I's anniversary. What week is this? This is Tuesday, September 24th. I'm trying to think here. I know that I've got some stuff coming up that I was going to talk about. I guess I don't. We'll be back next Tuesday. Yeah, October 1st. October 1st is next Tuesday. Can you believe that? Wow. Fall is here. It's going to be like 80-some degrees this weekend, but that's always how it is. End of September is like the warmest part of the summer for us now, I feel like. But anyways, fall's almost here, and then that means it's going to be winter. It's going to be nice and cold. Can't wait. Can't wait. If you know me, and if you don't know me, I'm just going to tell you. I love winter. Like, I love cold weather. I mean, and I love it. Like, I'm not saying, like, I'd prefer... Like, I love it. I love the snow. I love everything about it. Like, I just... Like, it's so weird because most people, like, their mood shifts in the wintertime. Like, they get sad. Like, sad's like that seasonal affective disorder. Like, that's a real thing. And wintertime, people, they get sad because it's winter, the days are shorter, stuff like that. I am the exact opposite, okay? During the summer, like I sweat from basically the end of May until, end of September, and it's just miserable and I'm not happy about it. And so when winter comes around, I am like, oh man, it's my time. And so I am ready. I am every year I feel like I used to live in South Florida. Okay. So I lived in heat. Like it was like 11 months of the year. It was 150 degrees and 90 million % humidity. And I used to enjoy that. I used to enjoy that type of weather. But since I moved back 10 years ago, 9 years ago, something like that, 8 years ago, I don't remember. Ever since then, wintertime, and every winter I get more and more excited than the previous year. And this year I am so excited. I sleep better. It's cooler. My electric bill is like $40. I'm just excited. So that's what I'll leave you with. Little known fact about me. My favorite season is winter. If you are interested in learning more, go to theologynights.com. You can click on our Facebook link. You can click on our YouTube link. That's where we do most of our stuff is through YouTube. Post on Facebook every day, but we post our videos through the YouTube platform. Go and give us a subscribe and click the bell so you receive notifications when we go live. We are also on all major platforms of podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever your podcast cup of tea is. We'll be back next Tuesday for the live show. Hopefully I can get a Logos show in maybe this weekend. But we're starting an evangelizing a world religions class this Sunday that I'm teaching, so we shall see. But hey, listen, I had a good time. I enjoyed chatting with you guys. It was nice to see you guys again, and I am grateful to be back. I look forward to picking it back up next week or sooner, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a great evening, guys. Talk to you soon. See you.